Wow. These Cuckoozy gourds are seriously like taking over, and the sunflowers just laid over on top of them. Hey, look at my ginger. Oh, a nice one. Hey, ladies. Wow. It's not quite ready yet. Oh, there's some ants on it. I think it's okay to leave it for one more day. I'm gonna plant some snap beans here next to the tomatoes. I am definitely giving myself the goal of getting a loose plan in order for these blank spaces in the garden. They don't have to be entirely planted, but I would like to know what I'm gonna do with them. And that's gonna be some things that are kind of like a second wave for late summer into fall, and then some things that are gonna go past the frost. Now, I'm doing a lot of that planting in the high tunnel, but I am planning on doing a little bit out here in the front garden. Specifically, what I would like to do up here are things like kales and things that really do well with a little bit of frost, maybe some root vegetables, carrots. Those are my after frost ideas. But before the frost, I'm thinking I'm probably gonna try to grow a lot of green beans out here, maybe some more squash. These are snap beans. I'm actually not sure what variety. They were in a Ziploc bag that I saved, so there's just really no telling what they came from. This is an unfortunate thing about being a compulsive seed saver. You end up with bags of seeds all over the place, and if you forget to label them, then they're little surprise seeds. There are a lot of empty spaces in the garden this year because I planted so much in the back. But it's okay. It looks pretty good for the middle of July. It's usually fuller. A lot of the things that were on my trellises failed, but because chickens namely. But what is growing is very healthy, so I'm happy. I kind of have this crazy idea. I don't think that I'll actually do it. Maybe. I don't know. What do you think? I thought it might be kind of cool to come in and just tear out everything that's already peaked. Like, there are certain things like cucumbers that are still producing a little bit, beans that are still producing a little bit, but that are primarily done. My noodle beans, they're still pretty full swing. But like, I have some things like that, some chards, get these leeks out, get everything out that has already peaked, and replant it, and just do like a whole nother summer garden, because I have enough time. I don't know, that might be silly, but I just keep imagining being out here in October and it being just like massively lush. I don't know. It's one of those things I think about doing, but it's so much work. I don't know if that's a good idea. The other downside to that is if I plant lots of things that'll grow now, I won't have any room out here to plant things that will carry past the frost. So it's one of those ideas that probably doesn't make a lot of sense. This Cuckoozy squash is a beast. Look at it. It's just going where it wants to go, all over the place. That's 4 plants, 2 on each side. There was 2 on this bottom of the trellis and 2 on this bottom of the trellis. It's covered this, it's all over the sunflowers, it's covering the other trellis, it's coming up here on the porch, and I'm gonna let it. I could probably have more production in my garden if I wasn't so fascinated by things when they're allowed to become wild and free. So beautiful. Don't you think, Bear? Don't you think? You're gonna go in the backyard? You have been running. Oh, my okras are starting to get pretty big. We ate our first watermelon that we harvested today. It was delicious. So we're actually gonna let the ducks out here to free range in this yard. Let me see, found a duck egg? Cool. Very cool. Oh guys, every time Benjamin wears this t-shirt, I have to tell you, this is a hand-me-down that just went too far, and he won't let it go. This is not a pregnancy announcement. I've never done ducks in the garden. I know chickens in the garden can be very destructive, and from what I've heard, ducks in the garden can be very destructive if what you have is seedlings or soft fruits, that they'll eat tender seedlings and they will mess with soft fruits. Now out here that we don't have summer squash, all we have is winter squash at the stage that they're all getting pretty hard. Watermelons. We do have these sweet potato vines, but I cannot imagine that that handful of ducks could really get through that many of these. We've got the high tunnel, but they can't, I don't think that they'll get in there because they'd have to go up through the beds. Obviously they could if they wanted to, but I don't think they will.
Sweet potatoes in here?
There's sweet potatoes in there? Yes.
Biz, no.
You better not be smelling on that chicken, Mr. Man.
Like, is there some in there right now?
The sweet potatoes? Maybe some small ones. It's not time to harvest them yet. We need to give them more time.
So
look at this. Is that crazy?
Why do you want the ducks to go in there?
I just wanted to let the ducks out because there's still a bunch of squash bugs over here and I'm hoping they'll eat them.
Because ducks eat bugs?
Yeah.
And worms.
Yep.
And any type of bug.
Yeah.
That we throw in there.
Yep, that you throw in there, that's right. Like, look at this. Look at the number of squash bugs on these. So many.
What is that? A pumpkin?
Yeah, this is a pumpkin.
Another one.
Multiple pumpkins. Hey, someone sent me some more sunflower seeds for the garden. More cutting sunflowers. Oh, the ducks are coming out now that Bear's out of the way.
You know the flat eggs?
Flat eggs with what?
The yellow in the middle.
Oh, like fried eggs?
Yeah. Can you bake me with this precious duck egg?
with that precious duck egg? You want me to make you a flat egg with that precious duck egg? Yeah, I can do that.
My dinner's going to be that. 2 of these.
Come on in. More plants falling over. You want to get that pepper?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yummy.
Is that good?
Mm-hmm.
I'm so excited about all of the peppers that are growing in here. It's very nice. And this morning, like, we have officially switched over to tomato time. This morning I picked about 8 tomatoes out of the high tunnel. Hey Ben, check this out, look.
What is it? Eggplant.
Yep, that's an eggplant.
Big boy eggplant.
A big boy eggplant. Wow, there's a few of them on there. I am really excited that we're gonna have eggplant this year. And look, these are Sugar Rush peach peppers and they're getting loaded.
Those are sweet?
Look at all those. No, those are spicy.
Why do they call them Sugar Rush peach?
Why do you call them Sugar Rush peach? Because they're kind of like a hot pepper with a little sweetness to it. That's a good question though. Good thinking. Alright guys, so this morning I harvested the first ripe climbing triple crop. So the first heirloom in our heirloom versus hybrid grow off. There's another one right over there looking pretty close. Not a whole lot of these are blushing yet, but they will be soon. I will tell you, many of these are very, very large. Like there, right there, that's probably a 20-ounce fruit once it's ripe. Here's another really massive one, probably 20-ounce fruit. That one's probably a good, at least close to a pound. And there are a whole lot on here. So the current status is that the hybrids are spanking the heirlooms. I mean, like, the hybrids have produced 10 times what the heirlooms have produced. Now, it's early. I've only picked 5 ounces out of the heirloom bed, and I've picked 50 ounces out of the hybrid bed, which is, you know, I mean, it's not that many tomatoes. It's just not a lot, but it's early. And the heirlooms, while they have probably not quite as many fruits set as the hybrids, they're twice the size. So we'll just see how they do. I think what it's really going to come down to about who wins in this grow off is which type of plant lasts longer. And so far they both look really healthy. Cleaning out the ground cherries. Now one thing that I'm just really kind of stunned about is the Abe Lincolns, which took a long time getting going, are now setting a lot of fruit. And guys, these fruits are massive.
To make a project?
Not a project, we can make salsa. Like, look at this. Not only are they like big, they're thick and heavy. Crazy. These are huge.
Eggy. You got Eggy with me.
This one split pretty significantly and it's starting to ripen itself, so that probably won't be too much longer.
You know your jars?
You know my jars? Yeah.
You can put these salsa tomatoes in them.
Yeah, that's true. I actually am planning on making salsa with a lot of the tomatoes in the house, so I'll make a video of that and put it up later this week so you guys can see it. That's actually a recipe that's mine, the salsa recipe that I use. A lot of times I share recipes that I get like online and I just link those, but I will do a video of how to because it's my recipe. I stopped by in the basement and grabbed a shirt full of potatoes. I'm gonna take these upstairs and get them started in the oven for dinner, and I wanna show you guys something. All right, got the potatoes washed off. Check this out. Lots of tomatoes, some remnants of squash. We got cherry tomatoes for days. Time to put those in the dehydrator. Now, if you've been here for very long, you've probably heard me talk about this topic many times, but for those of you who are new, I've showed you multiple times fasciated blossoms, and that is where you get this big cluster flower on a tomato plant. And basically with a fasciated blossom, that is multiple blossoms that have fused together, and what they're going to produce is a tomato that is essentially genetically multiple tomatoes fused together. And this is an example of that. Now, I have told you guys many times that I like to pull those off. I do like to pull those off. Sometimes you can kind of tell that it's like 2 flowers fused. A lot of times I miss those just because they're not as obvious. A lot of times it's like 4 or 5 flowers fused together, and those are the ones that are massive. They're bigger than the rest. They're really easy to spot. Occasionally I'll miss one, and this is a case of that. So this is a tomato that grew from a fasciated blossom. And this was one of those that was just really, really gnarly looking, and I want you to see all of this. This is kind of like something that has become a characteristic of heirlooms. And this is called cat facing. And this is just the result of a fasciated blossom being able to grow. Now, the problem with this tomato is this is cool looking, but when it comes down to it and you actually start to cut this apart, you see there's some really thin places, lots of this dark. Now this is edible, but what can happen sometimes, because if you'll notice right there, you can kind of see where it's scabbed over, where like you can see seeds. So this is actually the inside of the tomato that's sort of healed over. And what can happen a lot of times with tomatoes like this is they'll get rot spots or bugs will get up in there. You end up losing part of your edible fruit. And this is a really prime example of why I usually don't let these grow. There are always ones that get away. Here's another one that got away. This is clearly 2 tomatoes fused together. And just this tomato just doesn't, it has parts that are just not edible. Now granted, they are really cool looking, so it might be worth it if you're the kind of person who just wants to wait and see. I have so many plants that I end up with a fair share of these, even though I pick off every fasciated blossom I see. I just don't see every blossom. But this is what I'm warning you of whenever I'm saying, hey, you probably want to pull those off, because they could cut into what you actually are going to end up being able to eat. We have one more little watermelon. This is a little Moon and Stars one that is ripe. The one I cut up today was called Orange Glow. What was your review of the Orange Glow melon, Maya?
The watermelon?
Yeah.
Tastes like watermelon. Pretty good.
Check that out. More cherry tomatoes. We're gonna have to dehydrate those. We do have a video from last summer, or maybe it was the summer before that. Malia and Maya made a video showing how we dehydrate cherry tomatoes. This is definitely a very good option for putting those up if you're having excess of them. But the watermelon was very, very good. It was called Orange Glow. It's a variety from Baker Creek, and it was our first ripe one. And I think we're about to start having a lot of ripe ones. There are a lot out there on the brink. Oh, this is funny. What are you gonna do with these?
I'm gonna plant them in KK's backyard, and when she wakes up, she's gonna look at her backyard like, no.
You're gonna prank her?
Yeah.
This is my child, y'all.
I'm pranking her because I love her.
After we ate the Orange Glow watermelon today, I came in and I saw that napkin with a bunch of seeds on it. Now I'll tell you, my kids see me saving seeds all the time, so they save seeds all the time. If they eat anything that has a seed that looks even remotely developed in it, they're going to save it. So I assumed that was what was going on. And I said to Maya, oh, hey, is somebody saving seeds? And he was like, actually, Benjamin has hatched up a plan to prank KK, which is Maya's sister, Ben's Aunt KK, who lives next door, that he's gonna sneak over and plant those in her yard and surprise her with a bunch of watermelons growing, and it's gonna be so funny.
I was impressed with his long game. Like, that's a long-term prank to
Yeah.
plant all the watermelons, wait for them to come up out of the ground, and her be surprised like, oh my gosh, where did all these watermelons come from?
You gotta love a gardener's prank. Saving seeds and sowing surprise watermelon patch for somebody just to pull their leg. That's hilarious. We're gonna cook dinner. Thank you guys for hanging out with me tonight. I will definitely show you that salsa recipe here. I don't know if it'll be tomorrow or later this week, whenever I get around to shooting it, but that's what many of these are going to go to. So thanks again. I bless you. Until next time.